Welcome back to the Catnip Podcast. My name is Grace and today is Monday, October 14th. This is a podcast about knitting, books, baking, and cats, but most importantly knitting because that is what I love to do every day, all day, every day, if I could. Even if my hands would start hurting, I would still want to do it more. This is, yes, I already said what this podcast is. If you like to follow me on any of my social medias, I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Ravelry. I'm most active on Instagram, so please go follow me over on there. All of the things that I will be talking about hopefully will be in the show notes, so if you're on my blog, everything's down below, and if you're on YouTube, the link to my blog is down below. I work at a yarn store. It's called The Modern Skein in Montgomery, Texas. All of the information, social media information, website information, all that stuff will be everywhere. So you can come check us out if you're local or if you're visiting or whatever, or you can check out our online store and Instagram as well. So I have a lot of knitting. I have some cast-ons, no shame, it's good. They're good cast-ons. I'm so excited. And they're going very quickly, so it's not a slow go of a project. It's very exciting. Also we have Mystery Knit Along Progress, which is very exciting. Clue 2 came out last week. Oh man, there's just a lot to show and to share. So, if you'd like to grab something tasty to drink, today I have tea. It's not as cold as it was last week, but oh my goodness, we had a cold front. I'll talk about that later. But if you'd like to grab something tasty to drink or something to snack upon, an animal to snuggle, something to craft upon, or laundry to fold, or all of the above. With a lot of words in a very short amount of time. And you can come back and join me for some crafty chat. So everybody, very quickly, last week we had a beautiful, delightful cold front. Everybody, the highs were in like the low to mid 60s. What? Lasted all of maybe 3 days, barely 3 days, but it was amazing. So good. And I know there's more coming. It's just not right now, so it's just a matter of being patient. And we had our little taste of fall/winter, and it was just so nice. I wore sweaters and knitwear and my jacket and my boots, and it was cold. It was almost cold enough that was like, ooh, I need to turn on my heater. Except that was kind of extreme, but the wind was such that it was very cold. And also, side note, a little bit about where we live. Our apartment building, there's like 4 apartments. I'm getting a random phone call from someone I don't know. They clearly don't know I'm podcasting. There's 4 like apartments on one floor, and so there's a big hallway in between both sides, and that hallway creates quite the wind tunnel. It's very, very strong. So like coming out in the morning, heading to the Y to go work out is very shocking when you're like greeted with this huge blast of cold air, and it's like, whoa, it's cold. I was not prepared for this. I knew it was going to be cold when this happened, but I didn't think it was going to be that cold, which is why I was unprepared. But I was late, so I needed to hurry. But anyway, aside the point, the wind and the dampness of the humidity and the cold all on top of each other just make it seem much colder than it actually is. Which I'm fine with, because that just means that we get to bundle up more. Right? Yeah, totally makes sense. I mean, it makes sense in my mind. I don't know. I don't live in a cold climate. I will take what I can get, and if that includes the wind and the dampness of the humidity and the cold, then no shame. So that was very nice. All the hot beverages were drank. It was amazing. And it's significantly cooler than it has been, obviously, during the summer, and so it's just going to be a slow slope downward in regards to the temperatures, but it's just a matter of being patient. But while that was happening, other things were happening. I was reading a lot. We made our pumpkin banana bread, and oh my goodness, everybody, it's just so good. So good. It's like the perfect amount of both flavors, but not enough to be overpowering, and it's just like so good. And what was really fun is that Sam and I made it together. I put him in charge of the crumble top. I'm now getting a phone call from my husband, and I do know who he is, so I'm gonna take that. So, I'm back. I just watched back some of the footage so I could remember what I was talking about, because I couldn't remember what I had and hadn't talked about. Yes, Sam made the crumble, which he did a wonderful job. It was great. And it was a fun thing to do together. And I had 2 very ripe bananas. So it worked out wonderfully. And I would highly recommend it. I'll leave the recipe in the show notes. I think I left it in the recipe last week. So, yes. Excuse me. I don't remember, going very out of order here today. The books that I read or listened to, I don't remember what they were, but I'm pretty sure I read 2 of them. We're gonna check my Goodreads. But I'm currently listening to Queen of the Tierling. I am fans of, or I follow quite a few booktuber people, which, if you are unfamiliar with that term, that is just a YouTuber who does books instead of like makeup or something. That would be a beauty guru. We have booktuber people. And let's see, read. And one of them is hosting a spookathon. I don't remember the dates, but I know that it started today. And so there are several prompts. Oh yes, I remember what I read. Oh man, did I think I did 3 of them. Wow, that was amazing. What am I talking about? So distracted. I really can't remember. I'm just all over the place today. I really don't remember. And kind of makes me feel a little dumb, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going. So last week I listened to and read 3 books. Oh, Spookathon, that's what I was talking about. I apologize. I'm sorry. So Spookathon, there are 5 prompts, I believe, and so there are things like read a book that has a spooky word in the title, or read a book that's set in a spooky location, or read a book that has red on the cover, which is for that one, I'm reading Queen of the Tierling because it's a red cover. So, they can be spooky, they don't have to be spooky, it's just whatever. The 3 books that I read and listened to last week, I mentioned I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. That one was very good. It was very kind of Gone Girl-esque. So there was a fair amount of like very like normal graphic murder stuff. But it was still very good. I think I wrote in my review on Goodreads that like I really hated all of the characters up until maybe like the last 6 chapters. Probably more than that, but yeah, I really just didn't like any of them. I wasn't happy with any of the life choices that they were making, and I just felt like they were all being kind of dumb and whatever, and it was just like, why? And then this new plot, like narrative POV, point of view, was introduced, and it was like, oh my, this is not going to be good. Wow. And then the twist at the end was literally so mind-blowing. One of them, I knew it was coming, but the other one was just kind of like, I'm sorry, what? So, needless to say, I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. It was very good. It was very well written. Like I said, it's your typical There's going to be some gruesome stuff in there, but it was very good. The second thing that I actually read, was called Asylum by Madeline Rue, excuse me. It's the first book in the series. It's a very, for sure, a YA book. Though still pretty kind of like, wow, that's pretty dark information right there. It's very similar to Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It's along those lines, so there's pictures included of just random stuff. I'm pretty sure it's not like the actual location that's being written about, but you know what I mean. It was very good. I don't know. I could give a very detailed review of this, but I realize that we're doing this out of order and you guys just really want to hear about knitting, so I apologize. But I'm going to be reading the rest of the books in the series because it was interesting enough that I want to find out what happens to these characters and like how things progress. It was spooky, but it didn't like scare me. So unfortunately this was not part of my spookathon because I read it before the start date, but that's okay. That's fine. And then lastly was called Effortless by Sarah Holland. And I honestly don't remember if I said anything. Oh yeah, I remember this. I literally just finished this like over the weekend. I should remember what the ending was, or what the story was. It was very good. I also realized I'm giving very vague reviews on these things. I would highly recommend going and reading the little description on Goodreads because it can describe it better than I can. But this last one, Effortless by Sarah Holland, is very much like a YA fantasy, kind of Hunger Games-esque. It's very good. It's the first one in the series. I'm looking forward to reading the second one. The ending had quite the twist I was not expecting. It was very good. I listened to that one. So, very good. Would highly recommend. I'm currently listening to Queen of the Tearling, like I said. Don't remember Erica something. Let's consult the Goodreads because Erica Johansson. Yes, it's the first book in the series. So yes, currently listening to that. And I'm also currently working on I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is about the Golden State Killer. So interesting. It is October, everybody. We're currently making our way through watching spooky things. We're watching through the Screams. We've watched 1 through 3 so far and are trying to find 4 somewhere. So we're hoping maybe Target has it or something. I don't know. So yes, that is all the books and movies and stuff that we have seen and read and heard. So, hope you enjoyed that. Now let's actually get into the knitting, which is what this podcast is about. And I apologize, I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but whatever, we're just going with it. So, knitting-wise, everybody, this past week I taught the second class of a 3-part sweater class that I am teaching at the Modern Skein. We are currently working on the Lillian Cardigan by Carrie Bostic Hodge. It's just your basic, such a beautiful staple. I am so excited to have this. I realize my bangs are in my face so much. I apologize. Just your basic staple of a cardigan, super classic. I realize it's hard to see, but the collar around it is just a big, wide, ribbed edge. So, yes. I'm loving it. It's been so much fun to teach. The ladies taking the class are doing a wonderful, beautiful job. And I am using, we divided for the sleeves in the second class, so it actually looks like a sweater now. It's the best. Like, for real though, side note, I've said this so many times and will continue to say it probably for the rest of my knitting career, and I know so many people agree with this. Dividing for the sleeves on a sweater is one of the best feelings ever, because you've been knitting for so long, your rows are really long. I know I said this last week, like I'm always talking about this. Also because I'm knitting so many sweaters, so once I'm dividing for a lot of sleeves, and it's just, it makes me feel so good, like I'm actually doing something, making progress. Anyway, so I'm using, back to the sweater, Barocco Vintage DK in this beautiful navy colorway. I don't actually have any navy sweaters that I've knit, so this is perfect. It's a little bit darker in person than it's showing up. This is very accurate back here. So, like, can't go wrong with a snuggly navy sweater. And yeah, so I'm super excited about that. This is now going to become my reading sweater because I'm knitting the body of the sweater until the cows come home. And yes, like that brings so much joy. I have 2 sweaters now that are in that kind of like zone of just mindless knit around and around and around, or back and forth and back and forth, and not worry about anything. And it's just like, oh man, this is truly the life. This is my favorite because this is the perfect knitting to bring with me somewhere if we're gonna go hang out with people. I can work on that. I can do this while, realize my SD card is getting ready to run out of the room. Last week, run out of room. Last week it was the battery. This week it's the SD card. Great. I'll be right back. And now we're back. And now I have 3 hours again on my SD card. So we're good to record for a while. And my battery's fully charged. No technical difficulties this week. So yes, I really just am losing all trains of thought. I was talking about the just mindless knitting, taking it with me to go be with people, hang out with people. Reading mainly is the big one. And also, side note, this is also a little ranty rant here, everybody. So yes, I live in Houston. My husband, Sam, he grew up in Houston. He grew up being Astros fans, which if you are unfamiliar with who the Astros are, they're Houston's baseball team. Before dating Sam and being married to Sam, I didn't know really anything about baseball and didn't particularly care about baseball. I knew it was a thing and I knew that it was a big deal. I knew that the Astros were a big deal for Houston, but again, I didn't really know anything. Sam and I got together. It was kind of like, okay, this is kind of a big deal. We got married and it was like, okay, the Astros are in the World Series. This is kind of a big deal. Probably should start learning what's going on so I can enjoy it more. And I did, and oh my goodness, everybody, the World Series was amazing. And now we're in the ALDS. Don't ask me what that stands for. The American League something. I know it's American League. I know that. I do know some things. I have nicknames that I've come up with for pretty much, not all of them, but for a lot of the Astro players, because I can not really remember their names most of the time. I know what their names are, I just couldn't match them up with each other. Except for a couple of them, I know who they are. But a lot of them have nicknames, even if I do know their name. And so last night was the second game between us and the New York Yankees in the ALDS. I know terminology. Don't know what things mean, but I do know terminology. And so it was quite a game. if you're a baseball fan, you probably have heard about it. If you're a Yankees fan or an Astros fan, you probably watched it or definitely heard about it later. But we went into the 10th and 11th inning, and then Correa hit this beautiful home run, and it was just so good, and it was like past midnight at this point, and Sam and I were exhausted, but like once he hit that home run, it was like, oh my goodness, so much adrenaline. We're winning. We're gonna win. We won. It was so cool. Needless to say, there's a lot of baseball coming up that we will be watching and I will be knitting through. So that's exciting. I know I've talked about the Astros on here before because last Christmas I knit Sam an Astros hat with yarn from Amanda Hope Yarn, who's from Houston, and so she has this like perfect Astros yarn. It's amazing. And so yes, the Astros have a very dear and special place in Sam's heart, and because of that, they also have a very dear and special place in my heart. And it's so much fun. Even if I didn't understand baseball, I would still just really love watching it with him because he gets so into it, and it's just, you can't not be excited. It's the Astros. They're so much fun. Think of the knitting, people! So much knitting! We also have Aggie football going on. And then I start confusing my sports terms, and then it's like, I don't even know. I just have learned to accept that I'm probably going to get it wrong, and so ask a lot of questions. I don't mind. I will learn. Might not remember, but I will ask, and I will try and remember. That's the goal. I've definitely done a good job of figuring out and understanding what the little numbers mean on the screen, or if we're in the stadium, what the little numbers mean, and like if we're watching it on TV, what the box means, and like if it's outside the box or if it's inside the box, or like what's a strike. I've learned things. I might not be the best person to explain it to you, but or maybe not technical. I could explain it in my own words. Not very technical. Probably wrong, but it would be how I understood it. Anyway, this has gone on too long, but yes, so there's been a lot of knitting during baseball, football, all that jazz recently, and I'm loving it so much. And then it's cold outside, and we made chili. Oh my goodness, everybody. I'm sorry, there's just not very much knitting so far, but I'm just so excited. It's the best time of year, especially with the cold front. The Astros were playing, and we made chili for the first time this season, and it was just so good. It's my mom's recipe. It's the chili that I grew up having, and like, it's just so good. I love it. It's the little things. It really is the little things. Who would have thought that a chili recipe would have meant so much to me while watching the Astros and knitting? It's just really great. Anyway, so let's move on with some more knitting, shall we? Let's do that. So, the second thing that I have on my needles that is now in the mindless territory, which I'm so excited about, everyone. You can't even begin to imagine how happy I am that this is now divided for the sleeves. Oh, everybody. This has been a process, and I am just moving forward with it one step at a time, and it's gonna be the cutest sweater. I am very proud of that. I'm proud of this sweater. I've worked very hard on this sweater, and like I said, it's gonna be so cute. I can't even. I'm so excited to wear it. Anyway, so this is a test knit. This is my last test knit for the year, everybody. If you haven't seen the past couple episodes, I am no longer test knitting for the year. I have done too many test knits and a little burnt out, but had the most wonderful time this year. I made several new friends, a lot of new friends, knit so many fun things, but the time has come, the walrus said, to take a break from test knitting. But in a good way. This is just a happy break to kind of rejuvenate oneself. But this is my last test knit, and this is my Christmas sweater by Meg of Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits. She has a podcast and she has her own yarn, and this is Santa's Workshop, I believe is what it's going to be called. And I will be steeking mine, so it'll become a cardigan. Last time I showed it to you, I hadn't made the reindeer. The reindeer have been created. They're there and they're done. Like, can we even? I'm just very excited about this. So the sleeves have been divided for. We'll be steeking it. That's just very exciting. What else to say? The rest is just plain knitting in the green. I'm using Knit Picks palette in the Ivy colorway for the green, Pimento for the red, and obviously white for the white. I have made good use of my white. The white actually came from my stash. Had a full ball. This is all I have left, which is pretty awesome. I only used a little bit of the red. Still pretty much the same, maybe slightly smaller, but that's okay. This is good stash. Good stash. Never hurts to have a good red, for sure. And it's always good to have a little extra red, because I came up with the idea to make one of these little guys have a red nose, because he's going to be Rudolph. I don't know which one or where he's going to be, but one of them will have a red nose. I did, there was discussion at the store if there happened to be 9 reindeer, then that would be perfect, and then I could have the 9th one be Rudolph. But unfortunately I have like 21 reindeer, so that would not work. Although I suppose that I could divide it up so that there were, I don't know, that's math. I don't want to worry about that right now. But I could figure it out and see how many Rudolphs there would be in a group of 21. Or I could just do one. Either way, I'm very excited. I will probably just duplicate stitch over somebody's nose, probably at the front. But can we even, everybody? Can we even? I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Christmas sweater. I wanted to knit myself a Christmas sweater for so long, and my time is now. And one of the main reasons for wanting to do this sweater, besides the fact that it was just so cute, was also the fact that I knew having a deadline of November 1st to get this Christmas sweater done would mean that I would have a Christmas sweater for this year, which is the goal, and it's being completed. This is also my 19th sweater for 2019. It's for sure getting done by November 1st. Which I know that seems like a lot of knitting, but like I said, this is just around and around and around and around and around and around until the end of time, and like then the sleeves. But because 12-inch circulars are a thing, and I now have a wonderful collection thanks to Susan from Dallas. This is sleeve paradise, not sleeve island in a bad way. I mean, islands can be very happy, but I'm very excited. So, and then we have the steeking, which I think this one is going to be kind of like, I have a deadline, I'm just going to do the process, do the steps, don't overthink it, get it done type thing. You know, I think that's how it's going to go. So, yes. Yes, that is pretty much all I have to say for this pattern. The charts are just so cute. It makes such a cute sweater. So yes, again, this is a test knit for Meg, Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits. I'm going to be sitting and knitting on this This was my Astros knitting last night. I got the sleeves divided for during the game last night, and like once I divided for the sleeves, it was kind of like, okay, whew, I can focus on the game because this is just really, really tense and I just can't even, and now I can just knit around in a circle for forever. My gauge probably changed, if I'm being completely honest, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about it. It'll block out. Really? It'll block out. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So, next up, we're going to save the mystery knit-along for last. But next up, we have 2 new cast-ons, everybody. Yes, I cast on 2 things. Yes, they're both sweaters. Am I ashamed? Most definitely not. Because I'm loving them so much. And they're so special because they're English yarn from England that was brought from England to me from my parents from their trip that they took, and one of them is from a store that I just really, really like the owner. She's just so sweet, and there's just so many good feelings about these sweaters, so there's no shame in casting on 2 of them, you know? That was a lot of emotions and everything. But, so this one that I worked on a lot yesterday is Anna's Cardigan My Size by Petite Knit. And this is another really amazing staple of a sweater that I'm just going to be so excited to have. And this yarn is very special. This is Drops Charisma. This is what I have currently out of my little ball. I have a lot of them in my little cabinet out in the living room. This is Drops Charisma, and my mom got this from Slip Stitch in London. And Rosie is the owner. She's very sweet. And if you are nearby to her store, please go say hello. Please go check out her shop. It's just... I have not been, but I know for a fact that it is a wonderful place. So this is what I have so far. I'm just working on basic. It's your basic top-down raglan increase with these eyelet stitches every so often. And it's very, very basic, very simple. It's a very mindless knit, but I am also doing enough that I'm like, wow, I'm like actually doing a lot here, and I'm doing a pattern while focusing on talking to people at the same time, and it's really great. Those are the best. But yes, my mom got yarn to do this as well. So very excited about this. This will be one of our knit-alongs, one of our London sweater knit-alongs. That's number 1. Number 2 is yarn that my mom got from Loop in London. I don't know, I put the yarn ball down there because I need to show it to you. This is the yarn. It's the Kama Rose Yucca 1416. I do not have a ball band with me, but this is just a beautiful like lilac-y purple mauvey purple color. And we are doing All Do's by Isabel Kramer. And this is very interesting construction, people, and I really don't know what is happening, but I'm just trusting the pattern because I trust Isabel Kramer. You know, as you do. But like, everybody, this gauge is just so beautiful. Oof. There's just... oh... like the stitch definition, the softness, the yarn, knitting this, the very interesting construction that I have no idea what's going on. Like, what is this? I don't know. I know I'm following the pattern correctly. I've checked it several times. But it's just like, wow, what is this? I don't know. So I'm learning things. It's really great. And yes, I'm loving this pattern so much. My mom is making one in a beautiful, beautiful bright red, and I'm just so excited to see it. And like, oh my goodness, it's gonna be her Christmas sweater. It can be a sweater for all year round. This yarn and this gauge, and like, granted, fingering weight in general can do this. And I know, don't worry, I realize that the gauge and the yarn for this pattern is not fingering, but don't worry, we got gauge, we checked. We've done the necessary steps to make sure that it's gonna work. What was I saying? Oh yes, like this general yarn and gauge is just like the perfect weight for Houston. Like it's just wonderful. Like it's, because we don't want anything too thick or bulky because we're just not gonna need it, or it's gonna be a coat. Like you're either knitting a sweater or a coat. There's no really in between. A lightweight sweater or a coat. And so this falls into the lightweight sweaters category, and like it's, you can layer this if you wanted to, if you needed more warmth, but it's also just like, oh my goodness, ah, like look at that. You're probably like, yes, I can see that it is a piece of knit fabric that looks very decent. Good for you. And I'm like, oh my goodness, freaking out over here. We have this faux seam down the front. Isabel Kramer, she just writes such beautiful patterns. Oh man, when this pattern came out, my mom and I were like, oh my, we must do this. And then it happened to work out perfectly then that she was going to yarn stores, and this was one of the sweaters that she was looking for. And I have my favorite needles on here. I have some of my favorite stitch markers on here, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. It's a happy project. Both Anna's cardigan and this one are just like, these do so much for my soul. They make my heart and my soul so happy. Like, I can't even. Yes. Do you have projects like this? Or do you have projects that are just like, they're kind of like medicine for your soul, like laughing? They just kind of make you feel better no matter what. And it's just like, oh, I really love this. This is just really nice. This is really wonderful. Oh man, just keep repeating myself, basically. Surely I'm not the only one. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But, All Do's by Isabel Kramer out of the Kama Rose Yuku? I don't remember. I don't have a ball band with me, and I apologize for that. But that's what it is. And I'm loving it so much. This is not a top priority. This is one of the ones in Anna's cardigan as well that I'm just like enjoying the process. It's not a rush. I'm not getting it done anytime soon, and that's okay. That's not the goal. The goal is to enjoy every single stitch and just love it. So, and that's what knitting is. That's what knitting really is. Just loving your craft, loving your hobby, it making you happy, it bringing you joy. That is what knitting is. And crocheting, and pretty much any hobby or fiber art or whatever you want to call it, but for me in particular, it's knitting, and so I'm going to say knitting. Knitting brings me so much joy, specifically these two projects, and we're just gonna, yes, I've said all I can say, so we're just gonna move on before I just keep on rambling about it. But yes, I love knitting. Nobody's surprised by that, but that's okay. Okay, everybody, now we're on to our last thing. Actually, while I'm talking about this, I'm gonna clean up my stuff so it's a little bit easier when I'm done. So before, let's go back to the Astros, shall we? Before we started playing the Yankees in the ALDS, you know, if I get that wrong, it's gonna sound really dumb, but I don't think I'm wrong. I could look it up, but I honestly wouldn't really know what to look for, what to search. I think it's the league. I mean, pretty sure it's American League. And I know some of you are probably like, this is what it means. This is what it means. You're wrong or you're right. This is what it means, and this is why it means what it means. But you're not here right now, so I cannot take advantage of your baseball knowledge. Before we played the Yankees, we were playing the Tampa Bay Rays. And I'm going to take a small victory there, remembering that the Rays are from Tampa Bay. Or from Florida, specifically Tampa Bay. I know that's a very small victory, but I'm going to take it because I don't remember stuff like that. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So, while that was going on, I think I had gotten home from work. Oh, yeah, this is when we had made chili. It was amazing. And, we made chili. It was super awesome. We enjoyed that. Fritos galore. Had a nice little glass of wine. It was awesome. And it was Thursday, which meant, since it's past tense, that the Stephen West Clue 2 was coming out. And at the time I was trying to plug away on my Christmas sweater and try and get as much done as I possibly could. The Clue came out. And everybody, oh my goodness, it is quite a lot. Quite a lot. And again, I will say, like last time, if you are not wanting to be spoiled, I will have alarm bells, like I did last week, to look away or not listen or not watch or whatever. But I will say that this week's clue, technically last week's clue, excuse me, is quite a doozy. And I say that, and I know it's not really that complicated, it's just that the rows are very long. It's a lot of text for one row. And so it seems a bit overwhelming. And so when it came out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this one little section of this Christmas sweater, and then I'm gonna start it. And I pulled up the PDF and I started reading it, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get started on it. I'm gonna get so much done. And then I saw the word brioche, and I was like, okay, we can keep it together, you know? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. While this last Tampa Bay Rays Astros game was going on, that was going to determine whether we went on to play the Yankees. It was very stressful. Very stressful. I don't remember if it actually was stressful, but it was just stressful in the fact that it was the last game and we needed to win it. And so I'm like, okay, brioche, Astros. Brioche, Astros. What am I doing? I don't know. And so, like, I literally got through the first row, like the setup row, just fine. It was great, and because I had nothing to go off of and I couldn't mess it up. And I could have, but like there were no previous brioche rows that were gonna be like, wow, I clearly messed up here. Went to do the second row, didn't even work, was not remotely close to working, and later I realized it was because I was looking at a different row of pattern, and so that's why it wasn't working, and I was very confused because I was pretty positive I had followed it pretty closely. So that was when the mystery knit along went away. Didn't work on it for the rest of the Astros game. I worked on something else. I don't remember what I worked on. That's okay. I knit on something. But the point is that it was complicated enough that I couldn't watch the Astros game and do this at once. Which normally that doesn't really bother me. Normally I can do complicated stuff and watch something at the same time. This was not the case. So, which that's fine. You know what? I know that I can't do everything, and I know that's totally normal and very fine. But my apologize if you saw that and you didn't want to be spoiled. I'm about to show you what I have so far, so spoilers for Clue 2 and Clue 1 technically, but by this point I hope that you would have seen Clue 1 or know what it's gonna do. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Da, 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 da. I have very little brioche done, but that's okay, you know. I've been working on other stuff. I've been busy. This brioche is not, it's no joke. It's no joke. And the nice thing is that, thank goodness Stephen West, he's just so wonderful. He includes another variation that you can do if you don't want to do brioche, so you can do garter instead, which I think is wonderful that he gives options. I did very seriously think about doing the garter stitch for a while, but I realized that I would probably miss doing the brioche. But I can't wait to see what the garter stitch looks like. I don't think that doing the garter stitch and not the brioche doesn't disqualify the pattern by any means. It doesn't make it any, like, less cool. You do whatever you want. You do your mystery knit along how you want to do your mystery knit along. There's no shame in that. And I just happened to go with the brioche because I wanted to. Because I knew this is always good learning brioche experiment type things. So just tootling along. Not even remotely close to being done with section 1 or even the first, like, a repeat of section 1. But that's okay. You know what? I have time. And, you know, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm not gonna worry about it. But look at that brioche with our increases and decreases. There's our decreases and here's our increases. I did put it on a longer cord. We did make progress there because this long cord was on my Christmas sweater. And once I could change cords, I put it down here. So it worked out great. Like, it's just beautiful. It's so cool. It's so different and unique and amazing. I love it. So yes, Clue 3, which is crazy. We're like halfway through October. What the poop? Where did October go? I know we said that pretty much about every single month, maybe except for August, but like Christmas is soon, but Thanksgiving is like next month. It's so close. What? So Clue 3 will be coming out on Thursday. Very exciting. It's living in my happy bag. Loving it so far. Will I make it? Will I be done with Clue 2 for Clue 3? I don't know, but I'm not going to stress about it because life is too short to be stressed over getting brioche done. I personally, and I know that a lot of people would agree with me, so it's not an I personally thing. I believe that brioche should not be rushed. If you do brioche fast, that's wonderful. If you're confident in your brioche skills, more power to you. If you are not and you'd like to take it slowly because it's complicated to fix, you know? So it would be better to go slowly and make fewer mistakes if you can. If you do, that's fine, but if you can make fewer mistakes, then you have less to worry about and less to fix. Because brioche, unfortunately, is one of those things where it's like, if you make a mistake, it can be pretty apparent sometimes. And so it's like, nah, I made a mistake there and I have no idea how to fix it. Wow. So, don't rush your brioche. If you need to take it slow, take it slow. It's okay. You know, it's fine. No need to rush. Unless you have a deadline. In which case, still be careful if you have brioche and a deadline. I don't know. It's fun though. I'm enjoying it. So, everybody, my eye is very itchy and I don't know why, and I apologize. So, since I randomly talked about my baking and my books at the beginning of the podcast, I am kind of out of things to talk about. Already talked about the Astros, talked a lot about them, talked about the cold front. Do need to go fold laundry, but I have chicken and dumplings in the crock pot currently, and it's making the entire apartment smell so good. It smells so good. But yes, so that is all the knitting that I have for you guys this week. Can't think of really anything. I'm in a good place of like, I just need to make progress on all these things and just move forward a little bit with them every day, and I'll get there eventually, and yeah, just worry about the things that have deadlines. Start planning Christmas stuff. I think I have an idea though. I think I got it covered. But it's going to take a little bit more planning. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anyway, that's not for right now. That's for another time. So, with that, thank you so much for watching this episode. I appreciate every single one of you. All your comments, likes, and subscribes. I know I'm not very good at replying to comments, but I do read every single one, and I appreciate every single one. It makes me smile every time I see an email that says I have a new comment, so I appreciate you. Yes. So, if you'd like to follow me on any of my social medias, I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Ravelry, and also Goodreads if you want to see what I'm reading during the week. Most active on Instagram, so please go follow me over on there. All the show notes, yarn store information, all that will be everywhere. The show notes will be on my blog, so go do that. I hope you had a wonderful week, and I hope you continue to have a let's start over. I messed that up. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and I hope you continue to have a wonderful week. If you have crafty plans, I hope that they are successful. If you're working your way through Clue 2 of the Mystery Knit Along, whether you're doing the brioche or the garter section, I really hope you're enjoying it. Enjoy every single minute of it, because it's so much fun. Are you working on Christmas projects yet? Because I'm not. I should, but I'm not. I'm really gonna regret it. Like, I know I say wasn't I mentioning it back in like July, and I never did anything and never acted on it, and now it's halfway through October and Christmas will be here pretty much next week based on how time is going, and I'm really gonna be kind of grumpy. I'm gonna do my best not to be grumpy. But I have nobody to blame except for myself, so that's okay, you know, that's just a thing. But yes, you know, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. We won't worry about it, won't stress about it, just one step at a time, one thing at a time. But you know what? I'll have a super cute Christmas sweater to wear while I'm working on these Christmas presents. And that's all that really matters, you know? That's all that really matters. Ultimately. It's priorities here, right? But yes. So I'm just working on everything. I'm trying to read as much as I possibly can. I'm really enjoying, I've never done a read-along before, and with like booktuber people, are you guys into do you watch people on YouTube that do books? I don't know. I've really never ever talked about it before, but I love it because that's where I found a lot of like my book recommendations from people that we have similar tastes, and so they have read way more than I have, and so they'll do videos of like top 10 books that I would recommend to anybody, or like my October to be read TBR list or whatever. So stuff like that that's just like, oh, I'm finding all this stuff, and now there's this read-along spookathon thing, and I'm just gonna, am I gonna read 5 books in a short amount of time? I don't know. I have no idea. Who knows? If it's an audiobook, I really can get through them pretty quickly, but we'll see. So, that is all that I have for you guys this week. Again, thank you for watching this episode and just my podcast in general. I know there are so many amazing podcasts out there. I'm super behind watching pretty much any knitting podcast because life is busy. But I appreciate you that you have picked mine out of so many amazing ones. I appreciate that so much. It means a lot. Yes. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you continue to have a wonderful week. All that jazz. Craft away. Lots of crafty goodness. Happy mystery knitting along. Maybe Christmas crafting at this point. I don't know. If I was smart, I would get started, but we'll see. And yeah, so that is all that I have for you guys this week, and I'll see you guys next week.